Welcome to Drink Till We're Married podcast. Here, the cocktails are crafted, relationships are always the topic of conversation, and our guests are put in the hot seat. Cheers. I feel like you're so far away.
When is the YouTube channel coming? I'm putting you on the hot seat.
I have a YouTube channel.
When is it coming back? Is this on
we are
YouTube?
recording.
Are we on
The
YouTube?
entire episode will be
Is it going to be on
video.
YouTube?
Yeah.
What? When you wasn't going to say anything?
I got a new laptop because before my issue was the quality camera on my old laptop just was not good.
I didn't realize.
So, yeah.
YouTube, here we go.
Here we go.
Nice. I'm so excited for you.
So, HeyCutie's here with another episode of Drink Till We're Married podcast. Don't come for my neck. I know it's been a minute. But we're back. And I have two guests with me. They are reoccurring, coming back to the show, and I appreciate them for coming back.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Of course.
First, we have Sam from B Tru to You. Also, the curator of the True Vibes Day Party.
Of course. Of course. If you want to catch a vibe, you know where to come once a month. True Vibes, third Saturday of every month. The next one is August 12th.
For the birthday.
Yes, Leo season.
How you leave the birthday out?
Everybody doesn't love Leo. Everybody doesn't love Leo, so I try not. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta come and then you gotta catch the wave. But it is my birthday. It's a really, really big deal. I'm
Awesome.
playing it cool right now, but it's a really big deal.
In her Barbie wear.
Yeah.
Should be.
And the buckets are available.
Oh yes, 3 different colorways. 1 for
Come
25,
on.
3 for 60. And
Come
yeah,
on.
wanted to know. Just get all 3 to be safe.
I got all 3. She
got
got me
a-
to get all 3.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Exactly.
And then we have Paul. You know, Paul is, the
What's
brother to
good?
the room from the Digital Cigar
You know what I'm saying? Without my brothers.
Podcast.
Without my brothers.
Yes, I
today,
pulled them away. They probably gonna come for me.
They're gonna beat one of us up. It's all right. I'll fall on the sword. I'll fall on the sword for. I always tell them anyway. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just
See
messing.
how we do.
Them all- no,
And
those
this
are my
is why
boys.
I be getting blocked out the group.
No, don't do that.
Side
Don't do
chats
that.
like, why is
Don't
she like
do
this?
that.
Or they put
Well,
the
no,
Chucky,
but I'll
Chucky
do
bride
that. I'll do
emoji
that.
like, I be like, I don't be flipping like that.
Because
yo.
this like my
How
sister
many of
for
y'all
real.
are
It's
on the-
3 of us.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So sometimes she can get jumped. You know what I'm saying? It's 3
Yeah,
of us.
I
They
see
be
that.
trying to come for me.
I see that.
I come out on the ledge to try to like help you a little bit from time to time.
And they don't like that.
And then I get, you know what I'm saying? I be on the
Or they
outside.
be like, oh, she like Paul better. I be like, I love
Well,
all
that's
y'all.
true, but that's the case with everybody who knows Paul.
Well, that's true.
I mean,
But I am. Wait, so we have what is it? The characters.
so Harley Quinn and the Joker, because
Yeah.
I really don't have no sense.
So yes, I'm the Harley Quinn to his Joker, and we be a mess
at it.
in the group.
I
Yes.
do. I like to play devil's advocate sometimes.
All the time.
Sometimes I like to be truthful. You got to figure out which one I'm coming with.
You know what I just noticed about you? It looks
What's
like you're
that?
wearing a little lion around your neck, like for Leo.
I do. I have.
No?
Well, now those
that your spirit
coincidence.
animal? Is that your-
Coincidence.
Is that your spirit?
You know what I'm
animal?
saying? I personally like tigers, but they had a mane on this one. This one had a mane, so I went ahead and rolled with the lion because you know what I'm saying. Same heart, you know what I'm saying. Heart of a lion, heart of a tiger. You
Same-
get it.
same thing.
But
It was standing out to me.
okay, by chance,
Yeah.
the Leo thing.
It's a Leo.
I'm
thing.
sure.
So we are, of course, drinking,
Of course.
and the drink of today is called Unhinged. It is Casamigos
shouldn't drink-
Reposado
I shouldn't
Tequila.
drink things named unhinged.
Well, the reason I named it that is because, listen, if you see me out and I'm drinking tequila, just know it's up. It's up, and it's stuck.
I enjoy tequila. I'm right there with
Yes. And it's made with passion fruit juice, a splash of ginger beer, muddled with fresh pineapple and basil,
ginger beer that I'm tasting. That's I
Little-
like
little-
that.
topped with a little sparkling water, and then garnished with a pineapple.
Sam,
So
do I need a straw?
cheers, huh?
I
I
think
mean,
I need
to
a
mix
straw.
it, because like when you muddle it, it gets a little not whipped up for my people. So of course, I'm putting you both in the hot seat.
Same time?
No, one at a time.
Okay, so I can get my answers. Go ahead, Sam.
I will let ladies go first. It's okay. It's fine. You ready? Just 5 questions.
Okay.
Listen, ma'am.
Okay.
You ready to
I'm
start?
ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Here we go. First question.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try and see.
I
it.
don't.
My handwriting did that well.
I
So
just-
you can see this. Get even or get over it.
I would say forget it.
Okay.
To me, the best revenge is success.
It sounds
All right.
good. It sounds nice.
Give up your phone or give up day parties.
Now they really are kind of one and the same.
She's changing the question.
Give up your phone. No thinking. Give up your phone or give up day parties.
Oh, day parties are a part of my brand, and phones are how I push the day
Ah,
parties.
phone or party.
You see how I remember when I tried to change the answers and you didn't let me do that? I just
So,
want to make sure we do the same thing
I'm
for
just
Sam.
I'm just saying that one is not fully itself without the other. Is what I'm trying to say.
Y'all
But I
serious?
can't
You
give up the
can
day
still have a
parties.
day
I
party
can't give up the day parties
without the
because
phone.
it's my
It could be
brand.
somebody else.
So she
It could be
give up the
Okay.
phone. Give up
the
somebody
phone.
else's phone.
No, she can promote on somebody else's.
Okay,
phone.
so she giving up the phone.
Computer, something,
Yeah.
iPad,
She
maybe.
is wiggling out as we speak.
She's giving up her phone. Know when you'll die or how you'll die.
Mm.
Hey, that's crazy.
Mm. Mm.
That was a good question.
Thank you.
Don't ask me that.
Maybe the when. The how just surprised me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spin the block with your ex or get married at first sight.
I wouldn't mind doing that married at first sight situation. That seems a little fun. That
Okay.
seems a little fun.
And then
Yeah.
length or girth.
I'm getting judged. Responses over here.
I didn't judge.
No,
Because
because you
this
know
table
why?
will turn, and I
You
don't
know
want
what?
to be.
You know why? So can I just for context?
No.
I could get married at first sight with an ex. We really don't know.
That's true.
Right. Who
That's
they gonna
true.
pair you
That's
with.
true.
That is true.
Okay. Okay. I'm all about
It's the
context.
context.
All about context.
See, like, let's revisit that. I just want to clarify.
Just in case. Length or girth?
Is one without the other?
There. Which do you prefer? She ain't give me a straight
Look, I
answer.
done popped those up my glasses.
Now you all in, huh?
What's that? What's that now?
You could be one of these with some girth, and that ain't gonna do nothing.
So you want length.
But
Okay.
then it could be a
Thanks for
pencil.
playing.
No, let her give context.
Then it could be a pencil, and you know what I'm saying?
She is problematic on this hot seat. This thing is supposed to take us 30
She
seconds.
will give no straight
How you
answers.
gonna have the length without the girth?
Listen.
At least be
You
medium.
could be like needle nose pliers. I don't know. You know what I'm
Length
saying?
or
Just-
girth? I was looking for multiple choice questions.
These questions,
They just hot. They just hot questions.
You
I'm
ready?
just gonna say both.
And again, here we
I'm
are
about to put her on the hot seat.
again.
She got to get an extra question or something.
Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe. Oh my gosh, I forgot to get your last question.
I'm gonna say both for everything.
'Cause
Both.
that's what
Both
Don't
of
do
them.
what I do. Do what
Both
you do.
of them. But
Don't do what I do.
I got a different voice. It's gonna be original.
Don't do what you do.
Same answer, different tone.
So,
Little spice.
be the funniest person in the room or the smartest?
Oh, can I be both? Like,
you go.
I am.
All of the above.
I am. I say funniest.
Okay. So, Tamia line dance or the electric slide?
To me, a line dance.
Mhm.
I told you I got that down.
Finally.
I got it.
I don't have it down at all.
Me either.
I've got you. I'll show y'all.
You have to.
I'm
We might have to record
good.
this. Spin the block on your ex or get married at first sight?
Get married at first sight.
Okay. Give up your phone or give up traveling?
By phone. Well, actually, I mean, I say that easily, but
Yeah, the phone will have to go in that instance.
I say that easily, but do you know how I feel when I'm on the plane and I ain't paid for the Wi-Fi this time? It's not a good feeling. I really want.
You'll book better flights. You'll book better
There you go. Okay, so phone's gone.
Okay. And your last question, I did come up with it, but I didn't write it down here.
Did you?
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like you
So,
freestyling.
doggy style
I think you
or
freestyling.
reverse cowgirl.
Shit. Well, you should have asked me that question.
You had an extra one you can answer.
No,
You're more than welcome to answer.
You
I'll answer afterwards.
This is the whole episode, y'all, right here. This is it.
Doggy style.
Okay. Why? Because you want to be in control?
No, who said I wasn't in control when she on top?
You don't even always have to be in control with the doggy style.
That either. It's
Context.
That back.
Is that?
Oh, yeah, anyway,
Go-
sorry.
con-
I'm like,
Go ahead.
it's not rubbing
Every
together.
time you have acted it out.
Moving against the motion, you know what I'm saying? Adding your own
Moving
rhythm to
against the
mo-
ocean.
Yeah,
Ah.
adding your own rhythm to it.
Like when the waves
You
hit
can
the
take-
hit the.
Ladies, you can take over in
And doggy
any position,
style.
but you don't.
Absolutely.
We don't really always want to have to.
Now, now it ain't both no
Yeah.
more. Now she got answers. It ain't both. It ain't both of them now.
I mean,
So listen, we do actually have an episode today, and it's called "Secure the Bag," and we're going to be talking about what makes us insecure in relationships.
Brum, brum, brum.
You ready? You ready?
yes.
All right. So I'll start with you, Paul. Why not?
I'm gonna tell you how I feel. So
So, what are some things that your mate can do or has done in your relationship to make you feel insecure?
I don't know if it's like directly like insecure. I think there's some things that can shatter like confidence, maybe in the personal and the relationship itself, but also like from your own perspective. Like for me, I think we talked about this one time. It's just like I'm not a big person on you talking any type of way to me.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
you check your emotions on the inside before we check them on the outside. You know what I'm saying? That's just, I get it. Sometimes you
Yeah.
gotta say whatever you gotta say,
Mhm.
but there's a way to deliver everything that you deliver. And if
Mhm.
I have the presence of mind, I'm not asking us to be the same person, but if I got the presence of mind to catch myself before I address you in a certain way, I
Mhm.
expect the same respect. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I think that's a thing. I know that I probably ain't supposed to talk about the Kiki thing, but
You can.
Do
I
you
was just
think,
starting
bro?
some stuff. I had to start
As I
something.
roll my eyes so
I
hard.
had to start something. I get both aspects of it, but I just think that was a bit much.
I
Like if
think
it was
him-
my girl, I would rather her. It's one thing, you know what I'm saying, cheeks out, whatever. But
Mhm.
now your arms is draped around. You got this lit that only I know what that giddy smile look like. You know what I'm
I
saying? And you
mean,
all in the moment.
I see your perspective, and I understand.
Listen, I see your perspective.
I understand
Bye.
your perspective, but I just in that instance, she's an actress. That's kind of what goes along with that industry. She's
Right.
in movies, having
Right.
sex with other people. You know,
Oh.
that literally was a part of the act of a show. So
Mhm.
to me, it's not really. I should
And listen,
listen.
I have no issue with her, me, and having a problem with it. I have an issue with him airing it out on the
Yeah,
internet.
of course.
That is
that
where
part.
that's where I agree.
Bruh.
Like
That part.
Call my phone.
That's a conversation.
I knew what you looked like before you left the house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I we should have
Right.
talked beforehand.
right.
That's a conversation.
Yeah.
That's a conversation, and I think
And then he doubled down on it.
But
Like,
I'm
bro,
also
you don't
not
put the
trying to
phone
look
down.
like Buddy in the five. What was it? 5 Heartbeats or the Temptations in the front row? Your girl that done left you. No, she all done fell out. She done fell
all
out.
I'm saying is Usher wasn't able to make that play with everybody. Okay, there were some ladies that they got
Yeah.
right in their man's lap. And was like,
Right.
"You
Okay.
right
Yes,
here."
you're right.
I
But
think
her
that is
man
a
wasn't
great
there.
point
wasn't.
to make
He wasn't.
Yeah.
because that is the other side that not
That
anybody talked about, where people were like, "Sorry."
Right. And I've seen that.
Exactly.
But did y'all have a conversation
Exactly.
before you went to this
Right,
show?
like I done seen him singing to the ladies.
Right.
You gonna sit down and
Who
you not
was
gonna
it?
act up.
Was it who is YG dating now? Not
Oh,
Kamani,
it's
is it?
Sweetie.
Saweetie.
Yeah.
And like she was just watching. Like, okay. Well, granted, it did happen the week after all of this.
But she was
hoopla on the
also
first one.
with her man. I think that's the difference
Yeah,
too.
YG ain't
Kiki
somebody.
had
look,
her
the-
friends hyping her up,
Yeah,
recording.
yeah. Doing everything.
When you with your man, I'm not gonna disrespect my man in his face.
right.
I mean, my intention is not to disrespect you at all.
Right, right,
but
You mentioned
you
something.
may get caught up in the moment.
The question originally you asked about insecurities,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I wondered, does that play into it when you say, okay, well, he had a conversation beforehand, like don't make, because I think sometimes not always on purpose, but sometimes we can do things where we make the other person feel insecure, not on purpose,
Right.
but you do.
Yes.
Right.
And if we
Yeah.
don't ever talk about those things, then you're holding it in, and it just continues to bubble and bubble. And who knows how many times she may have made him feel like this, and this was it. Usher, this was it.
Yeah.
And something else came to mind
Yeah.
is like, Kiki wasn't always this Kiki.
No,
Right?
Kiki done
was
glowed
like,
up.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I wonder, is all that time not having that type of attention? Because we listened to Aisha Curry back when a few years ago say, no, I don't want to be with another guy, but I want that additional attention,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Mhm.
And maybe that's probably part of it, right? Like your own insecurities from not being able to be
Right.
exposed to that,
Yeah.
and now you kind of, I don't say acting out because I thought it was a bit much. The interaction for me, I think it was.
But,
it's
but
just
that's
me.
Kiki's personality. It's
It
very
is.
over the
It
top.
is.
It is very. It has always
It
been
is.
very over the
It
top.
is. And
That's
to-
par for course.
Yeah, to zoom out, right?
To
go-
zoom out.
To
Context.
zoom
Go
out.
ahead.
Yeah, for context.
What context?
To zoom out, aside from Kiki, I think that when we think of insecurities and how they lend themselves to relationships, we have to think of the context, right? Like, so who is the individual? What was their upbringing? What's their past circumstances? What
Mhm.
trauma did they experience, if any? What led to them having? Everybody has a different level of insecurities, right?
Mhm.
We're all
Absolutely.
insecure about something.
Yeah.
I'm insecure. It could be my weight, how I look, my
Right.
face, how I dress, how I present at work. So just thinking through what are the different factors that make people insecure and how they impact relationships is a really big deal. And how to get to I don't want to say the root of it because that takes a lot of self work, but I think that there's so much more to consider when we're talking about what shows up in relationships and how to do the self work. So that way you're not really always projecting on someone and making it their responsibility to affirm you in ways you don't affirm yourself.
Oh, you
actually-
gotta break that.
Well, no, that's interesting, right? Because
Don't you, man?
that actually leads me to the thought, right, where we say that a lot, right?
To the self work.
Right. Now,
Mhm.
do the self work, do the work, do the work, do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody interprets every saying differently,
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
And I guess my thought that comes about is sometimes people may say, well, then I don't need to date somebody for 2 years or until because there's never a point
No.
at which you really know, now I'm healed. Today I am
Right.
healed and
There
I
is
have
no
done
stopping
the
it.
It's
work,
not a
right?
finite journey.
Yeah.
It's not a finite journey, but I think the more you learn about yourself, the more aware you become about yourself, you're open to having more dialogue about it. I felt this way or when you do this, I feel X, or what I need from you is X. Because we are adults. We do have to ask for what we need, right? So if I know I struggle with overthinking, whatever else, then I pair best with somebody that is going to reaffirm me or provide me with reassurance without me having to ask, right? So it's about knowing what it is that you need from people.
Right. to make
Which
sure
I
you
think we
get
talked
it.
about this the last time we
Yeah.
met. People struggle with knowing what they need and also articulating that to other people.
I think it's the latter more so than the former.
Articulating
I
it to
think
other
that
people.
we will, as humans,
Mhm.
say that we don't know. I don't understand. And we go to therapy and
Mhm.
just tell me the answer,
Right.
right? It's not that you don't know. Typically, you know.
Right.
You need confirmation bias. You need somebody to
Confirmation.
go ahead and say, it's okay to make this decision because we're scared that to make the decision ourselves is either too much on us or I don't know what it is, but it just seems like people tend to not have that conversation that you're talking about
Mhm.
because, and then this person's going to go away. Well, that means that's not your person. Well, I'm not trying to be, you know what I'm saying, by myself for another year.
I'm not trying to run
It took-
everybody off.
It took 7 months to get this person. Right?
Right.
Now I got to start all over and I got to do some work too.
But should having a conversation about what you did that made me insecure, should having that conversation lead to a breakup?
No, it should.
No,
it should not always
but I
lead to
think
a
people
breakup,
early
right?
on, it shouldn't. But I think people early on, especially people out of healing, and I'll just throw myself under the bus. Been there, right? Start
tell us
being
your story.
no, don't you? I thought you needed help with sales, not you knew how to do it. No, sometimes I think some people might push people away because of an old mindset of thinking, and now it's now it's time to use your new set of thinking.
So, to my earlier point, granted, healing is not finite, development is not finite, but whose responsibility is it if you come into a situation with your past experiences and now I can reassure you, I could try to help nurture you, but is it my full responsibility to now manage this for you. It's almost like saying when
Never to manage.
when you well, for me, let me speak for myself. When I get
Tell
into
us
a
your story.
when I get into a relationship, right? I am now focused on being whole and not saying I'm ever going to be like 100% or whatever, but focused on just being self-aware, being able to communicate certain things that I want, knowing what I truly do want. What do I want to be true or different about like the next situation? Yes. But I can't take past experiences and put that weight on someone else to now heal that for me or navigate that for me. And I don't think that's fair.
So it's like I can't. It's projecting.
Yes.
Right? It's literally taking, well, my man used to do this and I see you did that. So you can't do that anymore. Like you can't. No. You can't change a person.
No,
you can't.
You can't.
You have to figure out why that triggers you.
Exactly.
And really work through that. And I think that's the work.
Yeah. And pair with somebody that's willing to have the conversations. You know what I'm saying? Or willing to do the work. Willing to do the work with you, which in this society,
it's not that much.
We all said it at the same
work
time.
with you.
But I don't even see it. I think I've talked about this before.
We all said it at the same time. Like,
I don't see it as a bad thing only for two reasons. One, sometimes you can be pairing with somebody who has an agenda. And that doesn't mean that there's an agenda against you. It's just their agenda is, I need to do this, and this.
Yeah.
And now you're a part of it. So, yes, let's go to therapy together to make this work because so much of what's going to come out is a lot to be interpreted, right? Yeah. So that's a portion of it. And then the other portion of it is, actually, that's the biggest portion of it for me. Like somebody else's thoughts and feelings when I go to do my work. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I do agree with you. You have to do all of those things.
Something.
But what are some things, like, from a woman's perspective that can make you feel insecure in a relationship?
I think when somebody is dishonest or when they're not, when there's a lack of respect, i.e. like say if we're together and there's other women in the space and how you're interacting with other women or how you might address other women or talk about other women around me or even just how you affirm. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep talking away. But even just how you show up for me.
I'm listening. No, I didn't
Are
say
you focused on what I'm saying?
I am
you're
listening.
To be listening.
I knew I was going to get in trouble for that. You see that? I'm listening.
But I think that those are some of like the key things that I can think of off the top of my head. Like just showing respect and how you regard me when other people are around, or even just how you, I think that stems from how you treat the woman, period.
What if it's a part like of the act? You know what I'm saying? Let's say, I don't know.
What do you say?
What's
like,
the act? What
y'all could be like, I don't know. Let's just say, wait a minute. No, this is so funny. Anyway.
No,
let's say the guy's like a club promoter or something like that, right?
Okay, for context.
Just throwing that out there.
For context.
I'm just
because I promote parties too, right?
Oh,
so for context,
purely.
So for context, I'm not sitting here saying you can't speak to another woman. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about how are you interacting with them, right? Like, are you being respectful, right? Are you
acting like you actually have a lady?
Exactly.
A girlfriend, whatever we're going to call it.
Exactly.
You're not out here acting single. Oh, and putting it under the guise of, oh, well, I got to talk to everybody because this is my party.
Right. And not only that, too, to me, it's a layered situation, right? Because I observe and I pay attention to things, right? Because, at my party, I talk to everybody because I want to greet you. I want to make sure you're comfortable. But what other things are you doing? Are you picking at my flaws? Are you making me feel secure in my position and who I am?
Right? Okay, that's fair.
Because you could go and whatever, go talk to them. Go get to the bag. Right. You know what I'm saying? But are you making me feel secure in my position?
Right.
Or are you like picking apart my flaws behind the scenes and then you're bringing me out and then you're doing other things and then it's like building on top of stuff?
So I've also heard, and this just randomly popped in my head because of what you just said. So when you have a guy that says, oh, or let me say this, he's always dated a certain type of woman, and you aren't that type of woman.
Yeah, that's not a good feeling.
Right. And then you feel like, you can, and because then when you're out and he's always talking to those types of women or on his page, he's liking these photos.
I could see that.
There's too many ways that I want to go with this, but that part actually brings up
go
like
in the most important direction for you.
No. Not. So damn, you threw me off. The pages and stuff, right?
Yes.
So I've seen this before,
Okay.
where it's like guy says he likes this, and yet on his page everything he liking is that. Right. It's interesting because I think of the context in which somebody says, well, and women have done this, I believe, like, I want to date something different than I normally date because it needs to talk to a different part of me because I've done that several times and I'm getting the same end result, right?
I like what you said there. Talk to a different part of me. That was real therapeutic.
Yeah,
But what I'm
try to
say,
be
though, does that truly have anything to do with the person's looks, or is it really about personality?
Well, now it becomes
right, because I'm like, you could look like whatever, and have different person. Now I could have a twin, and we're not gonna be the same person.
But there's a weighted scale, right? Some of us being attracted to our partner higher than others, and I would say I could be wrong. I just think that men tend to rank higher of what they look at their partners versus women. Like maybe I can't like blanket that, but I just don't think it's as much what you look like.
I agree.
Right, you have the other things.
Right,
like, he's swaggy. I can dress him up. He's straight.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We could clean him up now.
Guys be like, I'm not putting in no work. The dog. I mean, in general.
Yeah.
So I say that to say, right?
Yeah.
You see that now under a post I saw. It became one woman said, "That's what he actually wants, and you are a placeholder. If you are not that, please move on expeditiously." That's what she said. And I sat and kind of like dealt with that one for a minute. Like,
but can you?
She can be right and wrong at the same time, right? You right.
But I could
typically
also like this and like that too, right?
Or this is showing me something I've never seen in this that I never knew.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued by it, and I like it, and I want it.
And so then,
right. Issues with this mic today.
But I like that. I like that point that you brought up. Like, I think that's a huge thing that people tend to do often. Like, oh, well, I don't typically deal with people that do this or they do that, or they kind of box you in or box you out based off of what their previous preferences were.
Yeah.
And that could have you questioning things. And to me, and this might be going in another direction, but to me, once I get that feeling or vibe from somebody, you don't got to deal with me. You know what I'm saying? It's almost, and that's another, I think, issue with this day and age too, is like we kind of give up on things too easily, but
we might. But the older I get, the quicker I am.
But it's the boundaries thing, because I think too, when we know we have certain struggles and people trigger them, how are we protecting ourselves?
Yes.
How are we getting out? How are we keeping ourselves safe? If this person is not a safe space for me, you trigger my insecurities, then this is like an unsafe space.
It's just
this is an unsafe. Like you trigger them. It's not like me projecting them. You trigger them. This is not a safe space for me.
Yeah. And we have the conversation, and we're not trying to tweak
this is
something.
Not a safe space for me.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So
I think we do push things away quite quickly.
So outside of leaving, what are some other ways? I think we talked about dealing with our insecurities.
I think dealing with them in relationships or with self, because I think
it's with.
I think
self.
both
need
their
both,
time.
Sorry. Yeah.
Do the work.
That's what.
And when I say that, I mean, I think that looks differently for people, but like focus on the things that you are good at, right? Lean into your strengths. I think we're so into focus. We're so focused on weakness fixing. Yes. And I think, I don't know if anyone here is familiar with Strength Finders. It's an assessment, but when you operate in your strengths, you're operating in excellence. And we're really kind of like taught to more so focus on weaknesses. But when you're focused on weakness fixing, you can prevent failure, but you're not operating at your natural best.
Hey, you can't necessarily prevent failure, right? Because failure could still happen.
It could still happen.
Now you're focused in the wrong spot.
But you're focused on the wrong thing, and you're focused on, I was already weak in this area, and I still failed.
Right.
Whereas if you're focusing on your strengths, it helps you to better manage the areas where you're not as strong.
And relying on others where I'm not strong in this.
So that's hard, though. And I think that's what I was about to say about the last question. Like, a lot of the stuff that we say, right, do the work. All colloquially, they are easy to say.
It's not easy to do.
But what is
keeping
the work?
boundaries is not easy. And I think people think that the boundaries are, I think they change. If you've dealt with your parents, you realize that they change, right?
Your boundaries change.
So, like, I think your boundaries become like, sometimes where you think it would just be easy to tell somebody where they can't be here, or they can't have this place, or whatever, right? Maybe, let's say you talk to your mother every day, right? And then you just going through something, you don't want to talk to your mother about 3 days.
Right.
Try telling your mother that, right? Like, you have to set the boundary, but typically, you know what I'm saying, they might be cool with it the first time, if it happens the second time. Now there's an emotion, even though they don't express it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, now you have to stand by your boundary and not like say, well, I need to call mom because I know I ain't want to talk to her yesterday or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that. I feel like people start allowing, like, they don't hold their boundaries firm because they start to feel a way about holding the boundary. Just as much as you think that holding a boundary is going to affect the other person, it affects you.
There's grief in doing things that are related to growth.
Thank you.
There's a lot of grief attached to that, right? There's a lot of loss attached to that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
When you're trying to focus on becoming your best self, you lose a lot of things. You lose a lot of connections.
You lose your old self.
You lose a lot of people, and you lose your old self. And it's like you're trying to navigate who is this new person, right? And even around your insecurities, I think it is important to set boundaries with people around things that might make you insecure. And I think it's about exercising a muscle, right? Like, nothing is easy when you're on a journey of trying to do something different or be better. And when you're trying to do things to, I think we all have areas of insecurity. We're never perfect, but focusing on affirming yourself, right? Like, how are you focused on pouring back into yourself, making yourself feel good, right? Not always looking to others to affirm you, but what are you doing for yourself that affirms you to make you feel best about yourself?
Yep.
I try to focus on the things I do good. That's a
and
personal
the people that
thing.
make you feel good.
The people that make you feel good.
Yeah, it's like you gotta make sure you have the right people around you. Like,
For
if
sure.
your friends are not supporting you, and because even your friends outside of your romantic relationships can trigger
Insecurities. Yeah.
And if they know that and that's always what they're doing, that's a problem too.
I wonder, is it more, and probably it's just more prevalent, like in men's relationships, to just like that's a part of it. Because if you really hang with your homeboy from day one, like literally most jokes is only about stuff that you're insecure about. Like, that's how I tell you I love you. Yeah, with your short ass. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that. I can see that.
But there's a difference, right, between
men and women.
Well,
no, I agree. I do agree with that.
There's a difference with things that truly hurt you, and something that's just fun.
A joke.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Like, I agree, but what
there's
happens,
a lot of insults that are coded
in truth.
Yes.
Yeah, like
and then also people will tell you, oh, all right, because as a guy, you're supposed to let most of this roll off your back. Yeah. If it hit, you can't. Now you're going to fit, the ego is shaking up now.
But if that's your day one, that's a conversation, right?
I think I'm looking at more of a space. You're right. But I mean, just like outside looking in, and as a part of it, I think that tendency people are not to call it out and not say.
I appreciate you saying that, because can we dig a little deeper? Because I think even with women's relationships, we're such emotional creatures, and it's like, I may not really know what you're insecure about if you haven't named it to me. Yes. And I may do things or act in a way, because I firmly believe overall that people are not ill-intentioned, right? But that doesn't mean they can't do you harm. Right. So you could do something that just is in your best interest, not thinking you're harming anybody else, or just you're acting in a way, or you're hanging out with your friend, you're doing whatever it is that makes you happy, and it could be something that I feel slighted by. Right. And you might not know that.
But if you never say anything either.
But you're acting in like you might come out passive aggressive about it.
Yes.
I think that's a real thing in men and women, though.
Relationships.
You know, like you have to kind of going back to making your needs known, or when something bothers you, speaking up about it a little bit sooner, or as soon as it kind of hits you, like that didn't really sit too well with me. Like letting it be known, because with women, particularly, I know for me, I connect with a lot of people. I'm friendly, I'm cool, whatever, and I can't keep up with everybody. Right. I just
need that space for yourself.
I can't keep up. So I need people to tell me, because I just don't read none of us, we're not mind readers. We have to let each other know, like, when you did this, I wasn't really feeling that.
Yes.
I agree. I also think that sometimes we take for granted those who do and don't, right? So some people will walk into the space, and I think that's where I say find your tribe. Some people walk into the space and you don't have to tell them, and they immediately pick it up. Yeah. And it's not fair to hold others who don't to that same degree.
Yes.
But I feel like as a human, you always got a little softer spot for those who pick it up without you expressing it. And it is not, you can't put those expectations on somebody to just understand what you want, what you need because of how you operate. But I think that you do end up having a softer spot for those who kind of pick up. Yeah. They say, I pick up what you're putting down.
But that goes back to aligning with people that are truly for you.
Yeah.
Everybody, and some people are meant for certain things to play certain roles, and you can't expect everything. You can't expect the same thing from everybody. I might not be that person for all of my close friends, but you might have one of your other close friends that picks up on it, and that's your soft spot. And I might have this person over here that picks up on it, and they're my soft spot. But we're still all good.
Right.
To your point, I can't expect the same thing from everybody.
No,
it's just not realistic.
It's really not. So wait, why am I watching? I'm rewatching Insecure. Are you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because I missed like a bunch of episodes.
Did you? It was good. I gotta rewatch it now. Y'all making me want to rewatch it.
But I have a completely different perspective watching it again in a lot of things. So it's like
Lawrence wasn't that bad, was he?
Wait, I don't know if that's what she was going with.
Oh, okay. I was.
and that's because that's one of the things. So
I don't think that's what she was. I thought she was.
I don't know yet. I don't know.
Lawrence was not that bad. However, he's sitting in this space for 2 years, right? So at what point your woman has been supporting you but again, she did not speak to him. It goes back to communication. I think a lot of this stuff goes back to communication and not being passive aggressive.
She didn't speak to him about what part? About him being on the couch for 2 years?
No, she didn't. She was kind of like expressing that with her friends, not so much with him.
Yeah.
I get it.
Like she made it uncomfortable, but she didn't express it.
I get it. Why you looking at me like that? I get it, but I feel like that's one of those areas where somebody should kind of pick up on something a little bit.
No, wait.
It's been 2 years.
She went and bounced elsewhere.
It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years, and now this is your motivation to want to do better.
So let me ask you something. If I'm not doing what I'm supposed to within 2 years, I'm supposed to expect that you might step out.
No, that's not what I'm saying. It's not even the step out portion. It's just the fact that you felt like 2 years was not. It's kind of a long time.
Yeah. Now I'm playing both sides. Right?
I'm not even saying
I had
the
to go over there and
I'm not even at the cheating part of this. I'm just saying
we're just at
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you got going on?
Because I thought you felt like I should feel like there's an impending.
No. Because I don't even know if we're gonna make it to 2 years if that's what you think is okay. Because 2 years,
which is literally half of their relationship. They were only together about 4 years.
Yeah. So
she was a ride or die.
Now I'll go to this other side and say this. He might have needed it. I hate to say that, right?
He might needed her to do that.
Not to cheat, but
I don't agree with cheating. I do want to go on the record and say that.
Okay,
I just want to go on the record.
Exactly, because there's microphones.
Wait, he might have needed her to cheat?
No, not cheat. I feel like something in that relationship had to shake his shit up because had he not have, I'm not saying cheating, and I'm not also saying that I don't know if it. I know ideally we want to say if she had just yelled at him and told him these things. I don't know. I'm not saying cheating is the answer, but something drastic had to happen.
And then what happened next for him? He leveled up.
But he over leveled. Might I also say he over leveled up?
He was working on it. He was trying to do some things.
Because before they broke up, he had gotten the job.
Yeah.
He had already gotten the job. He was doing his thing. He found, like, she had cheated. Mm-hmm. He didn't find out until after he had gotten his job and was doing better.
Oh, that is true. Yeah. So he was on that trajectory anyway to be great. He was a high level guy, I guess.
I think it still helped him to be better. I don't know.
He's a high value guy, huh?
Not be
a high value guy.
Not be better. Let me not say that triggered him to be better, but I think it motivates you in a different kind of way. Because to me, again, success is the best revenge.
Okay, yes. I'm right there with that. It's not about you, but I took that personal.
Right. And you're going to feel it different.
You're going to feel it different.
Yeah. But so I just feel like, again, communication, when she started getting frustrated, I'm like, dude, you was sitting there for 2 years. You could have been working at Best Buy.
She passively aggressively did that. Yeah. Like, to even when she cheated, it was passive aggressive.
Yes.
Because she was like you're being annoyed by the person that's asking you what's going on. Like, you could have had the conversation, but you're like, nah, I'm about to go out here and do what I'm going to do now. Because you've already made up your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I love that show because it was just all based on a whole bunch of it was a lot
A whole
of
bunch of
insecurities going on.
it's a,
So
And then even
conceptually,
with
it's a very
friendship
good show.
with Molly. So Issa
yeah,
and
that
Molly was,
interesting.
I think, rooted in.
The same thing that you just mentioned a minute ago. Like when women have relationships, they
Yeah.
don't mention in their particular relationship. Unfortunately, it got to a point where all they mentioned was each other's insecurities.
Right.
That's I think why they
Yes.
fell out because
Oh my
like
gosh.
you know too much and now you just swinging for the
Using it against
and
me.
it shouldn't be used as a tool to hurt
Right.
me, knowing.
Right.
you know,
and that's hard in men and women relationships as well.
But I think when you are that
That's true.
close with someone, they know how to hurt you.
That's
Right.
true. And then you're
Unfortunately.
speaking.
Yeah.
You're speaking from hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're hurting someone
Yes.
at the same
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
that's fine.
Like you tagged me, so now I got
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
Right.
gotta get you
Yeah.
back.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm already
So.
feeling slighted, so now I need to slight you.
Mhm.
It's kind of crazy.
And I think we answered this, but how do you, like, going into a new relationship, how do you make sure that you are making your person feel secure in where they are with you?
You will look at me.
Yeah.
So for me, I would say, and I've been single for a while, but I would say I'm the type of person, even with my friendships, like I study people.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to get to know them deeply. Like individualization is one of my top strengths. Like I like to get to know people for who they are, what makes them unique, what makes them tick, really like, what makes you operate at your natural best or what
Yeah.
triggers you. Like I like to know everything about somebody.
Okay.
So I think knowing that, it helps me to also best affirm them as well.
Right.
In romantic relationships or just in general?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I mean, more so romantic relationships, but even in my friendships,
Mhm.
like at one point, anyways, I feel like maybe I'm not doing the best at this right now.
You're too
But
busy.
yeah, I'm so like whatever. But definitely like to learn people. I like to learn people. I like to learn what they like, what they dislike.
Yeah.
Not because I want to present in a certain way, but just because I like to get to know them and figure out
Right,
how
yeah.
we can complement one
Yeah.
another.
That's hard,
So-
but I agree. It's hard to not. It's hard, like when you do it, to not also say, "Well, now you got the cards. Now you can
No,
present
but you don't
a
use
way."
it to be malicious. You use it to say, I'm the type of person where, like, gift giving is one of like the way in which I like to show love, right? So I was thinking of you because I know you like this, or let me help you with this because I know that you need help with this, or so just kind of showing up for people in the way in which they need it based off of knowing who they are, right? I think, and one thing I think I do really well is compliment people. That's just kind of who I am. I'm always looking for something. I'm always looking for the good in someone to compliment them on. I think words of affirmation are really big. Kind of going back to the love languages, just using all of them for people, not love bombing them, but just kind of like, getting to know them and figuring out what works for them and seeing if it's something that, I can support, basically.
What about you?
Don't say
So what are some things you do?
I like to find what the insecurities are and just poke them in it. No, I'm just
I
messing.
know. No, I'm not kidding.
I'm just messing. No, I mean I try to oblige. I think some of the things that she said earlier about like communicating like what they are, right? Like so. When I saw this guy, I saw it was like a couple, and they were like married or whatever. And I think she asked him, "What is something that I do that you don't like?"
Okay.
And he said to her, "I hate how you talk about my wife."
Wait.
Wait.
Oh.
This was who to him?
His wife.
Oh, I like that.
And she was just asking the question. He was like, "I hate how you talk about my wife."
Yes, because
Like,
that negative self-talk.
You start talking
impacts
about like how
people.
much you weigh and what you look like. And I'm
Oh,
gonna
I
say
love
this from a
that.
man
That was
perspective, and I can
nice.
say this
Yeah.
overall for men. I
Mhm.
think I can say this. Like, if we ain't said it,
It ain't a problem.
it ain't a problem. Like, if you bring it up every time, like I think I've been in situations where you bringing it up, it pushed me away, and it was hard for
'Cause
me
you
to
didn't
even really.
Ooh.
It was hard for me to even express to you that you doing that
Yeah.
because
That's good.
if this is an early dating stage and you do it, there's a lot. We can go back to like maybe pushing away too early, but like there's a lot of work that's there
Yeah.
that's gonna be more you than it is me.
Yeah.
And if it's a thing that makes me be like, okay,
Yeah.
Well,
here you go saying it again, and it's
Yeah.
like,
I
why
agree.
not?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And I think maybe people, men and women, have probably bowed out of situations where they just kind of gauge it. Like people can always say, like, you should talk to them about that, but it's like,
they talking about it.
you know what I'm saying?
themselves.
They,
That's enough
I
for both
can't
of us.
ever overcome the argument that you have with yourself about who you are.
Right. I can't convince you.
I can't.
Now you need to write that. That's
I
a
can't-
quote. You need to write that down. That's a good one. I can't overcome the
have to-
argument about you, about
Oh, you
yourself.
Yeah.
I'll pull it
I-
back. I'll pull it
You
out.
do have, because
I'ma
it's
pull
like
it
we're
back.
being recorded or something.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Don't look at me like that ever.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Nah, for real, because
No,
I
that
can't
is.
Because
overcome
women,
that
because
conversation.
we do that a lot, right? And I
Yes.
think we're trying to get ahead of. Okay, well, let
Yeah.
let them know
Right.
this
But
about
it's
myself
coming
right
off
now.
exactly what it is.
Insecure.
Insecure. And
Yeah.
like, here's the
I've
thing.
done that before.
Everybody's got their insecurities, and most guys will say,
I'm sure I have.
which
Yeah.
insecurities I can deal with. Most guys will say that, right? They're like, well, I can
That's
deal with a
actually a
lot of.
question. So
But some
we're
of
gonna go
them, which ones you can deal with?
Yeah, like what insecurities are deal breakers? Like what are things that you're like, no, that's a complete turn off. I
But to
can't.
his point, that was one of them for me.
That
Like,
is-
I don't like to. I understand that if you have certain insecurities, especially if I don't see it. Like, I'm always gonna make you feel good about
Fix
it.
it.
But if you don't,
right?
like, you obsess.
But I can't keep talking about my
You-
weight if I'm still gonna sit here and eat these
Yeah.
six donuts.
Yeah.
If you don't
either.
like you,
Now I'm annoyed.
if you don't,
Now I'm annoyed.
that part.
She said she wants to lose weight.
Yeah, if
Yes.
you don't like you, you're gonna make it hard for anyone else to like
Yes.
you. And that's
That is
why
true.
I said
Mhm.
earlier, like affirm, like learn to love yourself. How you treat yourself is how others will treat you too. And I know that it's easier said than done, but because we're all still on an ever evolving journey. We're not perfect.
We also try to put people in that role, though, right?
Which role?
Like,
Yeah.
some of what I was talking about earlier about spending that time by yourself.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
one of the things you gotta like you before somebody else come in. And like,
Yes.
that is time that you should probably be by yourself.
Yes.
But most people who feel that way are only affirmed by putting a person in there because it's
Yeah.
not as
To reaffirm them.
uncomfortable,
Yeah.
right? And then they will do that over and over again. I mean, people do
It's
it,
cyclical. Yeah.
but it is
That was good.
But
complex to a degree.
to your question, I can only deal with the insecurities that you're willing to work towards.
Okay.
Right.
Because I'm also a person, like, I'm only really aligned and attracted to people that are driven and want to work
Mhm.
towards changing or doing something. And that's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Some people are comfortable where they're at. That's cool. But like to talk about something and to, I'm like, I'm solutions focused. So to talk
Yes.
about something and to not, I'm like, I don't like when people bring up a problem and have not
And-
also thought about a solution.
Yes.
So to bring something up and we're not trying to figure out how to fix it.
Is
I mean, sometimes I just want to bitch and moan. I got an answer.
But we all
Like, I
know
got an
that.
answer
vent-
over here, but
a
I'm going to
vent-
bitch and
a
moan.
vent
just
is
real
okay.
quick.
A vent is okay, but I'm like, when you're bringing something to me and then kind of offloading it
just
on me,
dropping it?
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, well, what do you recommend? Oh, well, I
Right.
don't know. I'm just bringing.
like, did you want me to just listen,
So
or
I'm
are
very
we looking for a
cognizant,
solution?
Right.
and it might be because of corporate America, but I'm very cognizant of that with work. Like, I
Yeah.
think that is
Yes,
the hierarchical thing when it comes to corporate America, right? Like,
it is.
don't bring me like your
That's
manager
where I
do
got it
not
from.
want no problem. In
Yes.
fact, if you bring them a problem, they gonna be like, why do I have you?
Right.
Like,
Period.
cause
If
there ain't
I
no
have
point.
to fix
If I
it,
gotta
right.
fix it.
Yeah.
So
true.
Yeah,
And I don't mind working together to come up with a solution, but
Mhm.
like,
but it can't.
don't be
just,
against fixing the problem.
Right.
Like,
and I'm also somebody I think I'm big on the like compliments or little things too, like that,
Mhm.
right? Like you see little things, and it might be the sales guy in me, but like it's always things that necessarily like you're not thinking about. It ain't nobody said. So like for example, if I go to the bar, right,
Mhm.
I'll stop and tell the bartender, "Hey, how are you? How's your day going?"
Mhm.
And every time somebody's like,
Right.
oh,
they're just
because
nobody-
everybody has
yeah.
come here, nobody said anything."
cares.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like you might be admin at the healthcare. I'm like, I like your color of your nails. And they're
Mhm.
like, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Little stuff like that, because I think it may anybody for like 5 seconds feel better about themselves. Like I'm cool with it. Trust me, I got another side, but for the most part, chill out.
Yeah.
Trouble.
Yeah.
Maker. No, I feel that. I do like the last thing you said about. I mean, both of you said it. It's like you can't.
I'm not gonna win that battle.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I never even thought about it like that. Like
Mhm.
from that negative self-talk
Yes.
It's a lot for.
perspective. That's deep.
And then if you're the significant other, you realize that part of you, especially if you decide to be in a relationship, it's not your responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
but it
You can't say
it
it's
is, but
not.
it isn't. Does
Right.
that make sense? It's not your
Yes.
responsibility, right?
But we here.
Yeah,
together,
it ain't my job to
so-
cut the grass, but I also ain't supposed to let it just be overrun with weeds. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. It's not your responsibility, but it is your responsibility to support.
Because that sometimes comes into my thought, like with a relationship, like, do I have the time? Like when we say, okay, you got a daughter, you travel, you work, and you really career focused right now, and with all these things, like, you can very much really, really want to be with somebody, right? Your heart is there, but you don't have the bandwidth for because you come with responsibility. As I had a pastor a long time ago said, and I ain't been to church like that in a long time, but I'm just saying, I had a pastor.
We didn't ask you. So
I had to. I bring the context. I had to bring that context. Because before you got the eyes and be like, look, he go to church. No. It's been a while, but he was like, you can't think you're going to get in a relationship and not make a accommodation. Child, you can't get a goldfish and not make a accommodation. Right. You got to stop by that tank, change out the tank, put some food in there.
That's the biggest thing.
It's like that. Yeah, and so sometimes relationships, wherever, what reason, I think sometimes they always got to, like, this is my problem. Like, I think a lot of times they feel like they got to end because something bad happened, something not going on. And sometimes we just, like, when the car stops, we not at the same sign. Like, that just is what it is.
But is that something you try to work through? Like, does it?
That's a good question.
We were talking about that. So it's like, does it have to be your person, right? Or is that something, and even with dating, that you should try to work through? It's like, okay, I travel a lot. I have my daughter. How do you carve out that time for yourself?
Because eventually that is going to be a...
Right. I mean, it's never going to stop, right? No. None of the things that you have on your plate are going to stop. Is there a point where this person is traveling with you? Do you know what I mean? It's like, because you can't say you want to be with me and then I never see you, right?
That's true.
You can't...
Wait, no, go ahead. Context.
No, I was just going to say.
Her face tied up like context was coming.
No, I was just going to say, I feel like you do that for the person that you're ready to do that for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's my point.
I think that's the thing. And
you have to make space.
Do you
still have to? Because how do you know that's the person you want to do it for if you're not making the space to get to know this person?
You have
Which
to make
brings
space.
me to this point. That sometimes it just, that's when I'm wondering about, like, it not having to be talked out. Some people just kind of fit in the role, right? I'm not saying all the time.
I think it could.
But when it happens that way, now all of a sudden you're like, well, damn, I'm making time and everything is working.
Just happening on its
like,
own.
now you're like, is this it? Versus every single other person where it didn't really line up.
Because you're going to find that person that will be able to make it work as well, right? It's not just on you to make it work. It's not everybody in the relationship to compromise, right?
Are they compatible with you?
It's about the willingness, right? I think the
yeah.
willingness, and I think when it does work out in that way where it's like, oh, it's just coming together for me, I think you're also in a space of readiness. Right, because I think a lot of times when you're not, it kind of blocks out the opportunity to make that happen for you. But once you're in a space of like, you know what, I'm ready to receive. I might not really be working hard at it, but I'm just open and ready to receive. I think that's when it starts to come around and be easier to be like, okay, well, maybe I could try this.
And sometimes you may just be overthinking it too. So
that's true. That's true.
Unless this person is like, oh my God, I need to see you, you know, this many times a week. Like that's easy to weed out, right?
Oh man, there's a whole bunch that come in with that, right? I think that the older you, like I said, it gets quicker the older I get, because it's like, I'm not trying to make it like, okay, I operate, you better hop in with I operate or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, I'm also realizing stuff about me at this age that I didn't realize 10 years ago. I don't want to talk every day, 3 times a day. I don't. Well, I like you. I still like you equally.
The same thing.
It depends on how much you're doing one or the other for me sometimes, right? Like,
because I could be a heavy texter, especially since I'm moving. But I also make time to talk to certain people too.
Yes,
I'm cool with the text and the call either way, but I don't know. Maybe this might come into a readiness thing, right? Because sometimes I'm like, well, I just like to go 2 days and not talk to anybody, like for 2 days. And it ain't that I'm doing X, Y, Z. It's just like, I haven't really had a chance to get my mind wrapped around itself. And now I'm being selfish about it. I'm locked through. I'm like, no, I don't want to text. I don't want to do nothing. And if I post something on Instagram, it's just for me. Like,
and I think once
he got his phone, let me call him.
Right.
But see,
once you're in a situation with another person, like I think 2 days could be a little.
So what I am realizing, right?
That could be a little
specifically with women who like you, right?
They want to talk to you.
I like you.
They want to talk to you.
I want to talk to you all the time. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I ain't got nothing else new. to
Or
bring
at
to-
least know that you're thinking of me, right?
Right.
So even if you need time to yourself, to your point, you like a text. It's a text like, you know what? I just
Mhm.
need some time. I just need a minute to myself. I'm at home
Yeah.
chilling, thinking about you.
and being
I'm-
able to communicate that with you. 'Cause
Right.
Me, I'd be like, okay, well. All right. See, it's a better way to kind of
But then-
express. Well, I think what will happen is sometimes I won't express it because of your feelings. And now I'm not being true to myself because
Right.
now I'm resenting you because I'm trying not to hurt your feelings.
Right.
And that's what I don't like. Don't ever be so considerate of someone else's feelings
That's
that you're
true.
negating your own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Facts.
You
Because
know,
your
like-
feelings matter as well.
Yeah, you always have to be
Yeah.
true to
It's
you.
immediately putting your feelings in second place when you do
Yeah,
that.
and that's when the resentment starts to come into play.
Yes.
Even though you're doing something that's viewed as empathetic or considerate, it's like
Of someone else, right?
yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
to the detriment of the relationship.
It's always worse.
Yep. And so you could also be creating insecurities in some of your actions, right?
I could absolutely.
So gotta be
For
mindful.
Sure,
Sure.
those people could be.
Crazy. Well, I enjoyed having you both on
Yes, it was
for
a
my
good
first episode back.
I'm about to say first episode win. We were waiting on you.
Listen, the studio was under construction. Okay,
Yes.
again.
I like the new setup.
Thank you.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yes.
So please, Sam, tell them where they can find you.
So you can find me at SUMOFSAM_. Some of Sam. And everything else you
Add
need
it
is
up,
right
baby.
there. Everything else you need is right there on that profile. That's where you can find me.
And we can't wait to
Like a
celebrate your birthday.
August 12th, August 12th, August 12th. Don't forget I'm at Imperial, rooftop, downstairs, everywhere. It's
True
going to be
vibes,
crazy.
baby.
Leo
True
season.
vibes.
It's going to be crazy. You already know how Leos do, and that's just one thing that I'm doing. So, you know it's going to just
True Leo right there.
true Leo fashion. True Leo
That's just
fashion.
one of them.
That's just the one thing that my friends are like, so are you going to do a dinner or something? I'm like, listen, I'm just focused on the party right now.
Right.
But yeah, it's other things.
Okay,
So,
good.
yeah.
Paul.
Oh, at Hazy, the HAZ3Y hikes, HIKES. You can usually find me on the Digital Cigar Lounge Podcast or on your local mountain somewhere.
Yeah.
Scaling your local mountain, right?
Nice.
Wherever you are, I would always say it's very easy to get out there and remember that outside is free, right?
Oh, yeah.
So take your
True.
time. God talks to you in nature. Sometimes we got to get rid of the noise and the social media and stuff. So check out your local mountain or trail,
I
right?
need to do that more.
I like that. I
Absolutely.
might do that after the day party. Outside is not always free, but I will take advantage of those opportunities any chance I get.
She's charging. She running up.
Experiences cost something.
That's
They
true.
do.
That's true.
It's an
And-
investment in yourself.
Yes. Listen, outside is so expensive, but that's a whole other
It
topic.
is. It is.
I need to go find the side of a mountain because that's
Okay.
Seriously.
Because the side of the bar is not.
The side of the bar is not. It's a lot more
Yes,
expensive.
it's a lot going on that end.
And you can find me at drinktilwe'remarried.com. That's where you can find all the episodes. We will be back on YouTube, y'all.
Yes,
I'm so excited.
We can cheers
I'm
to that.
excited.
We're almost done with our drink.
Yes, cheers to that, baby. You can see us live again. Well, not live, but
Pre-recorded for a live
pre-recorded.
studio audience.
Right.
The clap.
Yes. So I appreciate you all for listening. Love having you two on the show. Great conversation as usual.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be in the number. You know
Right?
what I'm saying?
Invited. I
I'm
said, well,
glad-
I was like, what do you want me back?
I'm glad I'm glad you got in contact with your publicist. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate you coming.
He's so crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
We had to fly you in. I know. Right?
Still, I did
Gotta
say
check my
make
travel
sure,
budget.
make sure she'll be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never know.
Yes, but I love it. So thank you all for listening and cheers.